Talk, shop, pop, movies.
Ahoy there, this is Derek, the Convicted Cinephile. Welcome to October 2, Cruise Control. October is my annual tradition of celebrating films in horror franchises in their second entries. Why October 2? Because this is the second year I've done it. Why Cruise Control? I'm going to make these a little more rapid fire videos than I did last year. If you did not have a subscription to my channel last year, click on that playlist at the end of the video and watch all my October videos I did last year. Let us get into October 2, Cruise Control. On this episode of October 2, Cruise Control, we will be talking about one of my all-time favorite horror movies, one I grew up with, my favorite zombie film of all time, George A. Romero's 1978 classic, Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead.
What else could be said about this movie that hasn't already been said a billion times? It's amazing. It is one of the few slow zombie movies that stand the test of time. The makeup might look a little dated, and by little I mean extremely, and by that I mean the makeup that's just like the gray-faced zombie style makeup. The actual like gore and blood effects are still fantastic. It all looks like paint, which doesn't look like real blood, obviously, which Tom Savini, the master behind the movie, and a fantastic sporting actor at that, was, I think, disappointed in himself in this movie. He was, I believe, a war photographer, so he knows what blood and guts looks like. So when it didn't quite look right, he was like, that sucks, but what are you gonna do? The movie cost like $40 to make, and they made it look like a gajillion. So Dawn of the Dead is my favorite of the George Romero series. Obviously, it's my favorite zombie movie. It kind of becomes that automatically. The one after that, Day of the Dead, it's creeping up there. I like them both better than the original Night of the Living Dead. As iconic and important as that movie is, I love it. It's gorgeous. Get the Criterion. I'll just say that. But Dawn of the Dead is more interesting. It's more fun. It's a little too long. I've always thought that. I actually watched the Cannes Film Festival extended cut this time around because this 4K I have has all three cuts of the film. The theatrical, which is my preferred version. The extended Cannes cut, which I watched because I couldn't remember if I had seen it. And there wasn't a lot of extra stuff in it, but there was one or two scenes where I was like, I don't remember this. This must be new. Wow, I don't need this part. And I believe the music's a little different. The music in the theatrical cut is more memorable and better. It has a lot of the same music, but I think it's more prominent in the theatrical cut. I don't know, from what I recall at least. And then there's the Argento cut, where he recut Romero's film, which I believe is also the shortest cut, which I'll give that a watch soon too, just out of curiosity. But if you cut too much out of this movie, you'll lose a lot. That's my worry there. But as far as the essentially extended Cannes cut goes, it's still a fantastic movie. I give it a 10 out of 10, at least in relation to zombie horror movies. The four actors in the movie are fantastic. They feel like real people, which is part of the problem in modern horror movies. I don't know, they just feel like actors acting. The four characters in this movie all feel like real people that you get to know and love, played by David MG, I don't know. Ken Foree, Scott Reiniger, and Galen Ross are fantastic actors, and having the real life drama of her being pregnant throughout this whole zombie apocalypse gives an interesting angle. And Steven, David MG, as MG, I don't know, as Flyboy is still to this day my favorite zombie performance of all time. Bar none. He is amazing. Spoiler alert, he turns into a zombie in the zombie movie. Who'd have thought? Honestly, the trailer kind of gives away one of the main actors in this movie dying. It's kind of like, really? You're going to show that? It's like 2/3 of the way in this movie. But I've always loved how this movie felt realistic. I love the shopping mall setting.
What the hell is it? Looks like a shopping center, one of those big indoor malls.
Which they did again for the Dawn of the Dead remake, the one good Zack Snyder film, which I love not as much as this one, partly because of nostalgia, I'm sure. But like I said, that movie, it just feels like a 2000s horror movie, not real people. And that's why I've always grown attached more so, on an emotional level, I guess, to the original Dawn of the Dead, even though it's a ridiculous zombie outbreak movie. I mean, it's not like it's that real. It's not Schindler's List. George A. Romero did the impossible with this shopping mall setting. Just from a logistics standpoint of shooting the movie, they had to shoot at night, obviously, because the mall was open during the day. So all the blood and guts they spilt all over the floor, they had to clean up every night before they reopened the mall in the morning. And it drives me insane even thinking about shooting a movie like that, let alone doing it on a shoestring budget like they had. And that's one of the fantastic things about this movie. It's just, I love these older, lower budget guerrilla style-esque shooting movies. It just has so much more character to them, and I've I always love that about it. And one of these days and years, I will finally go to the Monroeville Mall and go to their little zombie museum that you can visit there that has a lot of props and things of that nature from this and many other zombie movies that weren't shot there, obviously. Yeah, like I said, not much more can be said about how amazing Dawn of the Dead is with its classic paint-like practical effects, people eating guts, biting styrofoam chunks of necks out of people. I love it. And it has a biker gang invasion scene that's hilarious and amazing. This movie is funny, and it shows essentially how shitty people are. Because even in this situation, all people care about is material things and consumerism. And that's what he was going for, I think. Yeah, long story short, Dawn of the Dead is an all-time classic to me and most other zombie/horror lovers alike. Thank you for watching this OCT2BER video. Go back and watch my other OCT2BER series from last year if you haven't. Check out my TeePublic and Spreadshop stores. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Talk, shop, pop, movies.